Hey y'all, what's up? It's Saniyah, aka Miss JG. Hey y'all, what's up? It's Saniyah, aka Miss JG, and today I am going to start by telling a little story time. I already told some story times on TikTok. If you're not following me on TikTok, I'm going to show my profile and link it in the description if YouTube stops playing. But I am not new to telling story times on social media, but this is gonna be my first time telling it on a long form platform, which I actually prefer telling it on like a long form platform because TikTok, you know, they give me 3 minutes. Everybody else apparently gets 10 minutes max, but like they give me 3 minutes and you have to split everything up into parts, and it's all, you know, the little, if you know TikTok, you know. So YouTube, you can kind of just talk and kind of just edit around, and you know, you have to be more descriptive, and I kind of want to do that. And I started telling middle school stories on my TikTok, and I want to tell more because I don't know, middle school me and university me are two completely different people, and it makes me laugh when I think about things that I used to think, do, say back when I was literally 10 years old versus now me being 20. And I, you know, just want to regale you with some of those times. One of which I kind of touched on in my wanting to be shorter TikTok. Again, I'm going to show a picture or screenshot of it on my actual page, and I did post it on YouTube if you want to see it. But long story short, if you don't want to see it, the person I had a crush on in middle school was shorter than me, and this is at the time I was very insecure about my height. For reference, right now I'm 5'9". I actually grew an inch from the time I made the video last year, and I did not want to get any taller. Like my dad's side of the family is really tall, my mom's side was really short, so I wanted to be like my mom's side, like, oh my god, everybody's 5'3", I want to be 5'3" too. But that dream kind of, you know, failed. But as well as praying for myself to shrink and doing the little YouTube subliminal things where you would like wear earphones at night and like, you know, the vibrations would make you shorter or whatever, I would also pray for him to get taller, because I was not like I don't know what I was doing. So I have a story time. This kind of isn't related to him, but it is related to him. So the title may be a little clickbaity. I don't know what I'm gonna title it. Like, oh, I embarrassed myself in front of my crush, or I fell in front of my crush, whatever. So just for reference, again, this happened when I was 11 years old. I am now 20, so some, you know, details may, you know, skip around. I may tell some side stories here and there to help me remember the actual story, so bear with me, okay? Bear with me. 5th grade, I started going to this charter school. I was coming from a private school environment, and a lot of private schools tend to be Catholic. Mine was Christian, so my Christian school was, you know, grounded in, you know, faith, God, beliefs, things like that, which I still, you know, am very faithful in God, and, you know, very spiritual, very, I wouldn't call myself religious, because I don't really identify too much with actually that's a lie. I more so identify with Seventh-day Adventists, but that's mainly because of like how I was raised and how I was brought up. But like if I were given the option, I kind of wouldn't, you know, I don't know. If I were exposed equally to everything, I don't even think I would have a preference. But this school was pretty much like Baptist Christian like environment, like they had their own church and everything. And I could tell a whole like side story of how they kind of fell from glory. Not even like to be funny, but like this school was like one of the most prestigious private schools in Newark. Well, I'm not gonna say that. They were very prestigious though. Like they had like, you know, they had a very good curriculum. You know, they taught kids very well. When they would go off to high school, they would actually do well, things like that, right? And they would actually come back and that whole thing, right? But when I was going to this school, it was not like, it was kind of falling off. Like our books were very dated. The teachers, now I know, like we're not getting paid that much, if at all. Some of the teachers would like come in and work because they loved us, but like not, you know, at the time, it's like when you're a kid, you don't really understand, okay, these people come here so they can eat and pay their bills, and if they don't do that, they could be, you know, displaced and on the street. So looking back, I really do appreciate the sacrifices that they did make, you know, for our education. I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent, but it's important, I promise. So coming from that environment, also coming from an environment where I was an only child, didn't have a lot of friends. I was very awkward as a child, and I also am autistic. If you know, I think I mentioned it on my TikTok, but people watching this who don't know who I am don't know this, but I am autistic. I got diagnosed when I was 2, maybe. I got diagnosed when I was 2, but since I got diagnosed pretty early, I am pretty, you know, high functioning. I'm able to do all of the things that I guess, you know, neurotypical people can do. But, you know, like little quirks and things like that, I can kind of attribute it to my autism. So that, I'm also coming from that environment, and I'm coming into this charter school where a charter school kind of has a similar education to a private school. Like they're kind of, I guess, a more prestigious version of a public school, but they operate under the same umbrella as a public school. So I was born and raised in Newark, went to school in Newark from, you know, K through 12, all years of school. This school technically fell under Newark Public Schools. It was actually a very popular charter school, and saying their name wouldn't really do so much damage, but just out of respect, I'm not really gonna say their name because a lot of people that I still talk to this day, well, not a lot of people, because I don't talk to a lot of people I went to high school with, but people that I am friends with from high school, you know, they have like, you know, family that still goes there. I know people personally whose kids still go there, and I don't want to compromise anybody's safety. So for the sake of this video, we are going to call this school, okay, and I'm not even trying to be funny when I call it this, but like, I'm going to call the school Prison Middle School, because literally, this place was so restrictive and strict. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. This place has gotten into scandals multiple times due to how they treat their primarily Black and Latino student body, and with their predominantly white staff. And the way that they would treat us would be very similar, not gonna say to prison, because I feel like that would be disrespectful to people who are incarcerated and are going through a lot of things in prison, but the way they treated us was, you know, very reminiscent of a lot of, you know, stereotypes that were rampant in the Black community. Like, you know, the whole, oh, if you dress this way, you're dressing inappropriately, even if somebody else is wearing the same thing. If you talk like this, then you're being belligerent, even though I'm not being belligerent. Like that whole thing, right? Like, I don't really know how to explain it without blowing up this school spot, but and this is an entirely different story time. Like, I could probably tell like 10 different story times about the scandals that the school has got into, but I'm just gonna keep it that this school did not have a good reputation for treating their students of color, which was most of us, with a lot of decency. And I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm just gonna say that they're very strict too, to make it easy. So they were very strict. We wore uniforms. In fact, fun fact, I haven't been to a school where I didn't have to wear uniforms since kindergarten, maybe first grade. And then like after that, I had to wear uniforms. Like my public school that I went to, I had to wear a uniform, even though I barely followed the rules and we always had dress down days. Private school, we had to wear uniforms, and middle school and high school, we had to wear uniforms. So coming to university, it was a whole new thing of, oh, I get to pick what I get to wear every single day, but it's also overwhelming because it's like, oh my God, I get to have to pick what I get to wear every single day. So I'm coming into this new environment. Some of the friends that I make on the first day are actually people that I'm still friends with to this day. So we're talking like 10 years here. And here's where crush comes in. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the name I'm gonna give him. We're gonna call him Jaden. One, because he was mixed. And two, because my first celebrity crush was Jaden Smith, specifically Jaden Smith in Karate Kid. And you know how Jaden Smith had like the cornrows, and I don't know why I remember this, but like when he had like came on the first day, or his first day, because his first day was different than all of our first days for some reason, he had cornrows. And I think like at the time, my type then was very different now. First of all, at 10, like you were just starting to realize that you can be attracted to anybody, and so expecting your type to stay exactly the same would be like unrealistic. But my type, if you could even call it that then, was like, you know, I like shorter men. I tended to like shorter men. you know, who were like Jaden Smith-esque. I don't even think personality really played a part into my type. It does now, but like back then it was just, okay, Jaden Smith lookalikes, and a lot of them did tend to be light skinned, but that wasn't on purpose. Honestly, the Jaden Smith-esque guys that I tended to like were just so happened to be light skinned. I actually did like somebody else a little bit more than him, but the crush that I'm talking about like developed later over time, and then it just like died. But this crush was kind of secondary. He comes in, and initially I'm not paying him no type of mind, but then I see him, you know, more and more. Naturally, you see somebody every single day, so you're like, oh, okay, he's kind of cute. Okay, he's kind of cute. And when you're in like 5th grade, mind you, I told you guys I'm 20, so this is what, 2013, 2014. So this is when like a lot of like Wattpad fan fiction was like really popular, and you know, imagining yourself as the love interest of somebody else and like running off to the sunset and getting married, like that was, you know, that was a normal part of conversation. Mind you, my mom didn't allow me to have social media until I was, well, her rule was 18, but the pandemic happened when I was 17, and she kind of relented because what else was I to do? And also I kind of showed I was a pretty good kid, but I'm getting way ahead of myself. So Wattpad fanfiction was like the real like popular thing, imagining yourself as a love interest, right? So the way I would access it was, if I had a tablet like that was near, I would like, you know, I would look up like, oh, romance novels that were free, of course, because what money did I have to buy romance novels like that were age appropriate? So I would just read those. Or I, like when I eventually did get a phone when I was 10, I know that seems a little young to a lot of you. She got a phone at 10, she got a phone at 10. I was a good kid, I promise. And my mom, like, she did it for safety reasons too, because if the phone is in my bag, then she'll be able to like track me and like, you know, not on like weird shit, but like she would be able to like tell where I am. She'd be able to call me, I'd be able to pick up, whatever else, right? So the phone was not like that, but I would like look up like fan fiction between like celebrities that I would like and stuff like that. So not anything weird or creepy, but like just, oh yeah, and then he went to do karate somewhere. I don't know. I was 10, okay? I kind of had that type of mentality when it came to this crush. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like when he handed me the pencil, him handing me the pencil really meant that he wanted to confess his undying love for me. Like that type of stuff, right? So, and mind you, the crush developed with Jaden more than it did with the other boy, because Jaden was in my class. So I was seeing him every single day, 5 days a week for the entire school year. And I also, while this is going on, you know, me trying to look good, I'm also making new friends, and I'm also kind of, you know, coming to terms with the fact that people will just take advantage of you. Like they will just take advantage of you, treat you any kind of way, not think twice about it. Not just by kids, but by adults. So this is another part of the story that is very important. So, you know how I mentioned that the teachers were very strict, right? And this isn't just me being like, oh, I'm a brat and I'm 10 years old and I want to get whatever I want. Like, no, like these teachers would like fucking want to bully kids sometimes, because this is actually a very important story I'm about to tell about this particular teacher, because this woman, oh my God, she was our history teacher, and she had her favorites. Like she did, we're not even gonna front. She had her favorites, and some days I'll be one of them, some days I wouldn't be. But the story I'm about to tell is about my friend, actually, who I'm still friends with to this day. She used to bully the shit out of him. Like I'm telling you, his handwriting wasn't the best. Like not that he couldn't write, but he wrote in script or like in cursive. So, because we both came from private school environments, so we had to learn how to write in cursive. So he wrote in cursive, and his like, you know, when you're 10, like your writing is not like fucking your adult writing, it's whatever, but it's still legible. But she was like,
oh, I can't read this, so I can't grade it.
Like, and would just continuously like not grade his assignments, or continuously give him poor grades, or continuously try to embarrass him in front of the class. Like one of the things that she did was like so fucked up. Like she bought, you know, like those little coloring books, like those little writing books that you buy for like kindergartners so they can learn how to write letters and learn how to write words. She bought him one and gave him back a homework assignment and said, here, you have to learn how to write and then resubmit this homework assignment so I can grade it. Like this woman was an asshole. Like I'm not even gonna lie to you. And with me, it was a little bit more subtle. Like, one of the things that she did, in school, we had a behavioral point system, meaning if you did something good, you got a point. If you did something bad, you lost a point or 2 points or 3 points or 5 points, right? Naturally, it was more common to lose points than it was to gain points. And with a strict teacher like that, it's definitely more common to lose points than it is to gain points. And you're thinking, okay, what does the point system do?
In essence, it's supposed to discipline kids, but really, if you let it will fuck you over. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, there have been multiple times where myself and other people have sat in detention for days, if not weeks, for things that we did not do in middle school and in high school. And in middle school, I was a little bit more spineless, so I would try to stand up for myself and say, hey, I didn't do this. Hey, I actually did turn this in. And when they find out that I wasn't lying, they would just, say like, oh, we're sorry, and then like send me home, like, and not really do anything about it. And then in high school, it kept happening. So I sent them emails and told my parents. They had a whole meeting where they essentially tried to gaslight my parents into thinking that, oh, it was really my fault because I'm not taking advantage of extracurriculars and whatever else. And once we started getting hip to it, we still couldn't really do anything about it. And nothing was really done about, these teachers that would be haphazardly giving people detention. They have this crutch of the point system where they could easily point back and say, oh, well, if your child wasn't doing this, then they wouldn't be here. If your child wasn't doing that, they wouldn't be here. And yeah, obviously you should discipline kids, but if the kids are doing nothing wrong and we're still being punished, you should be punished as well.
The point system was, very important, and I was way more of a goody two shoes than I am now. I was not a class clown. I was not, being belligerent or anything like that in class, but I remember I said something that she liked or whatever. I said something that like everybody agreed with and that was good, which would warrant a point. And somebody in the class,
yeah, ignore this weird cut, but the other person in the class has a very similar name to me.
even though I said the thing that was worthy of the points, she gave the point to the other girl knowing that it's not what I said. It's not like we submitted an assignment and she got it mixed up and she thought one was the other. No, like she pointed to the other girl after I said the thing that warranted a point. And my crush at the time, what did I name him? Jaden was the point monitor. So he was the one who would add and subtract the points. And he was like, he was gonna say, so like,
Yeah, he kept trying to say something, but she was like over talking him, and he eventually just, I don't remember what happened, to be honest with you, if I had the point, if she had the point. And to be honest, it doesn't matter. To a 10-year-old who is also a goody two-shoes, that's gonna mean something. And I don't remember exactly the little stuff that she would do, but I do remember being upset at losing points in her class for dumb stuff, like for talking when I wasn't talking, or for off task when I was never off task. And I also remember not liking her for the things she would do and say to my friends, because mind you, I was the goody two shoes, and a lot of my friends were too, but they also would get in trouble for stupid stuff. And we would kind of be like, yeah, she does this type of stuff to you. Oh, that's cool. And I actually became like really like good friends with like one of my best friends to this day, because she accused us of talking and we weren't talking, and then we actually were talking, and then we had a lot to talk about, and then we became friends.
Fast forward to the end of the year, we had field day. Every year in middle school and in high school, we would have field day. And this is a really big deal, not only because when it's field day, and what other thing do kids want to do other than like run around and be kids, but we also came from a very repressed environment, a very socially repressed environment. We were having fun looking up to this moment, and what they would do, which I will admit I do keep a lot of their shirts, they would give us like free shirts for every like year. So for 2014 field day, we had a shirt, 2015, 16, 17, but 5th grade, we were all new, so we didn't have our shirts. And again, remember how I mentioned in the beginning, like I kind of was a little like Delulu, like Wattpad energy. So I remember I was wearing a shirt, and I missed that shirt. I don't know where it went, but it was a Lucky Charm shirt. Not like the Lucky Charm cereal, but like an actual, like a shirt, a shamrock on my shirt with like a like light blue type deal. And I think I got it from like Justice or something, because when you're a little girl and you're 10, you shop at Justice. So I got that Justice shirt on, and he looked at me. I remember I sat down and he looked at me and he said, oh, you're gonna be our lucky charm. And I think I laughed for like an uncomfortable amount of time. And I was like, oh. Mind you, little side note, right? I am going to be blocking out his name in the comments because the people I know in real life, y'all gonna try to be funny. You're gonna try to be funny and say, oh, you're talking about. And it's not even because I care about like whether or not he sees this, because one, I already made the video on TikTok. Two, this is a public YouTube video. Three, this was 10 years ago. I promise you, I do not have any repressed, undying feelings for you if you are watching this, I promise. But 10-year-old me definitely wanted to run off into the sunset and marry you and have a bunch of 5'2" babies. Let me stop. But before I even step foot into this, right? I'm skipping a part of the story, because before I even get to the whole Lucky Charm business, I'm wearing my shirt and I'm also wearing my Bermuda shorts. Funny enough, this is also a story I told on TikTok. Mind you, my school, like many other schools in the country, followed the whole fingertip rule, right? Meaning like when you stood up, your shorts couldn't go like above your fingertips. So it had to be below your fingertips or exactly at your fingertips. And I think my shorts are like exactly at my fingertips, if not maybe like a half of an inch like higher, but a very insignificant amount to an adult, right? And I emphasize the fact that an adult because I walk in and the teacher, we have to give her a name, Miss Doe. Doe like a deer, Doe like Jane Doe, whatever you want to think about it. Let's call her Miss Doe. So Miss Doe looks at me and is like,
you can't participate, you feel okay.
And I'm like, and she's like,
oh, your shorts are inappropriate.
Mind you, my mom literally like looked at me when I was getting dressed, didn't say anything inappropriate about my outfit. Mind you, I'm 11. And I walked to the little staircase in order to shake your hand, because you have to shake everybody's hand in order to get into the building. So I'm ready to shake your hand and you tell me that I can't participate in field day because my outfit is inappropriate. And I'm about to be sad and I'm just like, I'm so like, what? And my principal, shout out to her. I also am not going to dox her name. I'm just gonna call her principal. My principal walks up and says, what do you mean her shorts are fine? And lets me in. And had she not been there, this woman would have completely isolated me from all of the other kids because of something she deemed to be inappropriate. Mind you, I have a naturally like curvy shape. I've had it since I was like a child. And it's, you know, naturally when you have, you know, a curvier shape when you're a young girl, people kind of find it to be more justifiable to sexualize you despite the fact that you are literally a child. Like I can pull up pictures of what I looked like when I was 11. Nothing about me said grown woman, nothing about me said adults. I was literally like 120 pounds if that. I was like what, 5'2" maybe, 5'2", 5'3"-ish. And I was like, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like not even trying to be like, what is wrong with you? And I go back in and I don't really think about it, and then the whole thing with the Lucky Charm and me laughing uncomfortably happens. But I look back and think about it now and I'm genuinely like, yo, what the fuck? Mind you, years down the line, like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, there were people that came in like leggings or people that came in like very tight fitting sweatpants and nothing said, okay, come in, okay, come in, come in, which, you know, it's appropriate. Like it's not like it disobeys any rules, and it's not like, you know, like we're children, so it's not like we're gonna be looking grown or however y'all people like to say, but it's like the hypocrisy is very real.
The hypocrisy wasn't just real for us, but it was real for a lot of the Black female teachers, because I've come to find out when I was about 17 or 18 that a lot of these Black female teachers were getting not only tone policed, but outfit policed by these white faculty members, unfairly, of course.
So again, this is all leading up to the embarrassing part of the crush, right? Build up. So they give us water, but like they don't give us like, you know, like drinking fountain water, or they don't give us like full bottles of water, but they give us like the little tiny little water bottles that you can like walk around with and stuff. So we were crushing those, because mind you, this is in like June in this is June on a sunny day, so we're hot, we're running around, so we actually were lugging up all these waters, right? And one of the girls, she was sharing a water with somebody, and like she asked me to waterfall her the water, and I waterfall her, and the teacher comes up and is like, oh my God, you're pouring water on her, you're pouring water on her, you're pouring water on her, you can't participate in the rest of the field day, you can't participate in field day, you can't. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. Like, I was a crier. I might have cried then, but I don't know. But I definitely do remember being sad, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't participate in the rest of the games. Oh my God, I can't participate in the rest of the games. Like a bunch of intermissions in between all the games too. And in one of the intermissions, they give us snow cones, and she lets me get the snow cones. And she's like, oh, just don't do that again, or just don't. I don't know. I don't remember the fuck she said to me, but something along those lines, right? Mind you, I didn't do anything. The girl literally asked me to waterfall her, and other girls are literally trying to explain, no, she was waterfalling her, no, she was waterfalling her. But like, bro, I don't know if like, okay, I was about to say, I don't know if like my mom or I don't know if my dad like curved her in high school. My dad is like at least 10 years older than her, so that wouldn't have been a possibility. And it's not like, and my mom's not that much younger than my dad, so it's not like my mom was like, I don't know, the popular girl was like bullying people and shit. So I don't, like, what does this woman have against me? I don't know. But all of this is building up to the very end, because I keep getting sacked, I keep getting, you know, thrown off to the side, and I'm getting less and less chances for the Jaden to notice me. And one of the games is actually relay races. You all know how relay races work. If not, I'll probably put the rules right here because I don't feel like explaining. Mind you, we're all competitive little shits. The school is built off of us being competitive little shits, because that's the only way they feel like we can get any type of productivity done, other than like yelling at us and you know, taking away our freedoms by making us be in detention for dumb shit. So we are very excited for this, including Jaden. And I mentioned Jaden is in my class, so we are on the same team. Not on the same team, like we were split up in different areas, because mind you, each class had to be like what, 20, 30 people, so they couldn't have all of those people relaying. So I think they split us all up. And mind you, form is very important with running. I learned that after that, but I didn't know that at the time. And I think I was supposed to be the person that was bringing the stick back. I don't know, like I forgot, but I just knew I was running, right? And I know he was in like an opposite like side. So it's not like he was waiting for me to like come back with the stick or anything like that. Pretend this is the track, right? Like, or this is like the end of the line. So I'm running, and my running, I noticed, starts to get more angular, but I can't really do anything to stop it. So it's getting more and more angular until I just that's how it felt. I was running, right? And my running was becoming more and more like towards the ground, more and more towards the ground. And I literally do like a little double barrel roll, side flip, kick act. Like I bust my ass in front of the entire school. Because did I mention that field day, everybody at every grade is all together. So it's like, I embarrassed myself not only in front of my crush, but in front of my classmates, in front of my teachers, in front of other people. Bro, oh my, I don't really care about this now, but like I'm thinking back to when I was like 10 years old. Oh my God, I think I did cry, and I was justified to cry, because not only did I bust my ass, but both of my legs had cuts and bruises all over them, like because we're playing on top of concrete, so it's not like we have any type of sandy or cushy material that I would have fell on top of. Like my leg is just like all cut and bleeding and all of that. The perk is that some 8th grade boys did have to carry me back to the nurse's office. At least that's what I thought of as a perk at the time, because 10-year-old me, I'm like, oh, I'm getting carried by 8th grade boys. My parents have to come pick me up. Mind you, we are halfway through field day. That's right, all of this manages to happen halfway through field day, or at the very least, like very much so in the middle, nowhere close to the end. and my parents have to come and pick me up. I tell them what happened. They feel bad for me. I think they took me out to eat, and I came home like literally like I was limping for like 2 days because that's how bad I felt. And funny enough, the next year, like the next time we had field day, like we were talking about the relay races, and one of like, this is when me and my best friend like really just started to become friends, and we were kind of joking about it, and she was like, yeah, cause you did somersaults and barrel flips and all that. I'm like, girl, it's not that deep. Like, girl, I didn't do all that. But I actually did do all that. But at the time I was like, and like other people were like talking about it and stuff, and they were like, oh yeah, like what happened? And I told them that I had to go home and stuff. And Jaden was a part of the conversation apparently, where he was like somewhere near, and he said, yeah, you know, I remember that. And when I got home, I prayed for you. It's not funny. It's not funny, but I was like, at the time, I was like, at first, because I was still very like I was much more religious back then than what I was now. So I was like, oh, he's a Christian. Of course I take an opportunity that, oh yeah, this boy pretty much is saying I feel sorry for you as a marriage proposal. I don't know what I thought. I just thought like, I'm a thinker. I thought, oh yeah, Miss Doe winds up leaving the school in that same year. So like when Jaden said, oh, I'll pray for you, like after that, like she wound up leaving for whatever reason, I don't know. And my friend, I think, wound up seeing her a few years back at a library with some man. If you guys are still together, congrats. If not, that's all I have to say about that. I do have a lot more stories to tell about middle school and things like that. I know the story was a little bit all over the place, a little bit, you know, wonky, a little bit wacky, but that's kind of how I tell stories on here. And that's kind of how I live my life. And I feel like if you're not down, I don't know what to tell you, because it's only gonna get worse from here, especially when I'm telling stories that are damn near 10 years old. But okay, I'll say this. I promise that I will tell more recent stories, and 2, I will try to be a little bit more organized and have a little bit more of a structure when I'm telling my stories. If that's all, then bye.